Hello, and welcome to all my combo lords out there in a spooky looking nighttime video here, which began as me thinking I have a little announcement to make about my channels that I might make a little video or live stream about, and evolved to me realizing that since it was so dark out here in the classroom, we would have to use some items to light it up. And I realized I had quite a variety of different items that could possibly illuminate the darkness. I in fact had a candle lit right before the stream, and the candle didn't have much wick left, so we'll try and relight that for the beginning, because a candle is a pretty classic method of illuminating the night. You know, candles have that historic sense, and they're simple enough and fable-like enough that they're a good thing to, say, write about in a book or use as a metaphor for something. And this candle is dead enough, so that one won't work. We'll have to move on to some other methods that you can light things. Although even the candle itself, we'll note that there's a few common ways we could even get that started. Starting with what I used here are matches. You strike a little sulfur type thing. I believe it's still made out of sulfur, or maybe they use something else. And then there's the classic lighter, where you flick a thing and it strikes some metal against some other metal and then has some gas inside it. Pretty different, actually, when you think about it, because although they're both igniting a spark, this one's keeping going from gas, and this one's keeping going from being a good twig to burn. And what I'm currently illuminating myself with, though, doesn't require any flames. Some types of heat don't have any flames. For example, these little cells charge up from a solar panel thing, and this is, I guess you would say, electricity that is charging it, but not based on a battery or based on being plugged into a wall. Based on these, and it might be glowing kind of weird in the stream and catching the light strangely. Maybe we can get a clearer view on it if I turn some actual light on it. And the cool thing about this is that it charges up all day. It was just hanging out in the front yard, gathering solar charge. And whenever it can get any sun, it charges and stays off. And then whenever it decides, I'm not getting any sun, it uses all the charge it had stored up, like right now. In fact, we can see here is a more typical lantern. And if I put it too close to this thing, it turns it off because it's detecting the light from this one. So funny enough, if you use too many methods of illuminating the darkness, it might stop this one from working. This one needs to be dark enough in its little corner to decide, I'm not supposed to charge, I'm supposed to use my charge. So these are pretty neat. We have a bunch of these in the front yard over there, and I brought one back here as a demonstration. It doesn't light up the scene quite as well as something like a good old classic lantern or another camping-like thing, which a lantern reminds me of, are flashlights, although the one I grabbed is a headlamp, which, thinking about it, a headlamp is probably the worst streaming tool because it shines the light directly at the viewer and the camera without any of the light going onto my face. So these type of headlamp things that you strap on your head might be the #1 worst type of light illumination while filming, at least as well. These do remind me of camping, and campfires of course do too. Don't think we're going to make a whole campfire tonight, but it has been a minute, so at some point before too long we'll do another campfire stream where we focus just on that one. And hopefully this is not glitching too much. I detected a little glitch there. But welcome to everybody who's here. Thanks for joining me, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of our light stuff. But before I get too wrapped up in that, I should note, as soon as I know that the stream is definitely working okay, I should note that the announcement I wanted to note is that I did start putting out my new shorts that I've been filming for grade -2. As many of you found this channel from originally, I posted more than 100, I think more than 200, maybe more than 300, but I don't think so, but I think more than 200 shorts during what I called grade -1. And then I've been kind of taking a break from those from the past month as I boot up grade -2, because really my pure passion and what feels like what I would want to do every week is make my main episodes for the main combo class channel, as well as cool bonus videos here. And the shorts are more like a little side challenge, like how can I fit some of these ideas into a minute in a catchy way. And the shorts are, in addition to being something that I've grown to like, that challenge of where often I can't condense the thought into the 1 minute that the shorts are supposed to be in the first take, and then I have to think, what can I cut out of my description without losing anything? So it's sort of like writing a short poem or something almost, compared to giving yourself more space. So an interesting challenge, but part of why I do it is because they're so much better at other methods currently at drawing new people's eyes to whatever channel you have. The shorts, I believe, are probably where more than half of the subscribers on this channel are from. And since I do find them fun enough and they help enough, I will be putting a bunch out. But I do also very much relate to people who don't like the shorts as much, because I don't really watch them myself. I actually probably film more shorts than I watch. That sounds crazy, but I probably film a few shorts a week and maybe watch a few shorts a week. I watch a lot of YouTube stuff in the typical old long horizontal way. And I actually don't like when channels will give you a million notifications for all these shorts and you're wanting a long video. So for a lot of these shorts in grade -2, unless they are a super important fact or something that I really elegantly described, a lot of them might not be set to go to the notifications or subscriptions of subscribers. And I'll let people know which new ones have dropped in my streams and in the video descriptions of episodes and stuff, and probably on the Discord. So there'll be plenty of ways of being up to date with the shorts. If you're worried you missed one, you know, you can every week or two click on the shorts page or a little tab on the channel. But just to warn you all, there'll be a bunch of shorts coming out. For the people who like the shorts page, they will see them on there. For people who don't normally like shorts but happen to like mine, then you might want to check in on, I'll mention in some live streams and video descriptions each week which new ones came out. The other part of it, though, is that some of the shorts I'm not going to be putting all on this channel. I'm going to be putting a few of them, and even maybe my favorite ones, on the combo class channel. As most of you hopefully know, this is sort of more a freeform playground for me channel, compared to one that I do more editing and soundtracking and condensing my thoughts and perfectionist work on. And that channel, you know, has way fewer subscribers than this one, mostly due to me not posting any shorts on there. And so I'm going to put a few on there just to let people on the shorts page know about that channel and, you know, get some eyes on it. Additionally, because they've gotten better at dividing out the shorts where they don't clog up the actual video tab anymore. So make sure to check that out if you haven't. I put one of those out so far on the Combo Class channel that's linked in the description. So after the stream, you should feel free to, if you haven't, look at that one about a little way to look at 1 divided by 0 versus 0 divided by 0. Now, the other thing coming soon will be, I finished filming today an episode for the Combo Class channel involving some mathematical traits related to bananas. And it was something that I actually just realized this week. Probably the quickest turnaround between me deciding to make an episode topic and me actually filming it ever. Because usually I've been brainstorming a topic for months and months before I decide to make an episode about it. But I realized something really random and cool about bananas that relates to polygons and geometric things that I would have eventually wanted to talk about anyway. So I filmed a little snack break episode that's about my weird new opinion about banana math, as well as it devolves into some fun facts about regular polygons and tiling planes and other geometric things that I would have wanted to put in an episode at some point, and they ended up coming out in a sort of snack break episode for some reason. But that will be a fun one. I also have been eating a lot of bananas today because I bought a bunch as props to demonstrate things and to show the cross sections of and such. And so there was a lot of like half destroyed, half good, or half eaten, half left bananas around after filming. And I still have some more bananas to go through. But that'll be coming out in a day or two. And I do still have some other bonus stuff filmed, like I'm a few shorts ahead, and that bonus video I mentioned about some slender salamanders, but the editing got pushed a little behind because this is a new computer. Still have to go get my data back from the old computer from a shop. You know, it's a whole deal. My computer broke, but we're pretty much back on track, and I'll have those bonus stuff out pretty soon. In fact, I'll probably put out another short on this channel, one of those ones that doesn't necessarily notify people, tonight or tomorrow morning. So, you know, feel free to check that page or my next stream if you're worried you missed any. So, getting back to our more main topics, because that's the future, and now in the present, we are here in the nighttime in the combo classroom. There are still a few more interesting methods of illuminating the night that we could do. Now, you can see me in a kind of strange glowing way due to the way the light is bouncing off things, but I'm actually going to turn this off for a minute. Stick around, and it's when it gets really black right now, it's not because the camera broke or anything, it's because I moved those things. And now I can somewhat display that you can have glow-in-the-dark things, too, that just glow from not having any light sources on them. Now, somebody commented when I put this in some videos that they were worried that the paint that they used to make glow-in-the-dark clocks back in the day contained radon, which is a radioactive material. And when they told me that for a minute, I was like, oh, man, uh-oh, am I sitting on a bunch of radioactive clocks? But I looked at this thing, and it's really new looking. I'll do a little more research, but I'm pretty sure this was made since the radon stopped being put in clocks. But glow-in-the-dark's pretty cool. It's something that I always liked as a kid. One of those things that kids think is awesome, then maybe you forget is awesome, but maybe we'll remember it. And what's going to help us find how cool glow-in-the-dark is, as you may know, I decided at the beginning of this grade, since I've been writing equations on this big green wall, but it has a bunch of room left, I decided to spray paint combo class so people know where we are and what's up around here. Not sure if you can see that, but I also, oh no, in addition to the black spray paint, I also have glow-in-the-dark spray paint. So we're actually going to find a good spot here, or a good item or whatever, to glow-in-the-dark spray paint something on. Not tonight. I need to put a lot of thought into that, but we will do some stream someday or episode where I will glow-in-the-dark paint something that we only want to see at night. And it should be something that if I have people over here when it's getting to night and the night's falling, that it would be cool to see slowly emerging in the background. Now, to answer a comment about why I wear the dirty lab coat. Now, this one's actually a lot cleaner than the one you see in a lot of videos, because a lot of people see my videos out of order, and they don't really see the whole cycle of everything, which is okay, but just know that if you're really following in with the grades, you will see a whole arc of each grade's lab coat going through an arc of destruction, possibly my hair going through an arc, possibly the desk going through an arc. And so those things happen in grade -1, and the last lab coat is actually over here. What's left of it. This is what's left of the last lab coat. And so if you think the new one's clean, you should see this one. I mean, if the new one's dirty. So, the lab coats are to protect me from the elements, because if they're getting all of this stuff on them, like scratches and burn marks and ink, that stuff would be getting on the lower layers of me instead. Because I like doing work outside in the combo classroom here. So, having a layer to protect the inner me from the dirt makes me, you know, if I allow my outer layer to get as dirty as possible, as long as it, I mean, not on purpose, but I don't really care how dirty it gets as long as it doesn't, say, smell bad or have something rotten growing on it. If there's ink and burn marks on it, I don't really care. So it's going to evolve. It's going to get worse, but this one's relatively clean for the states we've been at. So, and to everyone mentioning banana math, I think you'll all actually be mildly surprised by like what I'm going to mention in the episode. It'll make sense when I say it, but it's something that I've never heard mentioned before. It does have some relationship, as a clue, if you're thinking, oh, banana math, bananas sort of on the inside have a sort of threeven-like structure. That does have to do with it, but the consequences of that threeven structure I've never heard discussed. And it actually related to a shape I didn't expect. So, it also relates to some math we will see inside beehives and wasp nests. So, another cool way we can illuminate the night, in addition to so far having seen some candles, lanterns, matches, a little bit of glow in the dark, is we can use our electricity to not just make light, but to do wacky things with, say, orb filled with gases and electricity that conduct it to form plasma when turned on. And if we turn out the other lights, apart from this one, which this one, ironically, the one that glows from the solar power, can't be turned off. I mean, I could unscrew it, but it can't be like just turned off using the items here unless another light's on. If I turn on an even brighter light, I could get this one on, but that would get this one off, but that would defeat the purpose. So, a plasma orb. What do you folks think about this? Pretty neat, huh? Now, it's a pretty small one. This was pretty cheap, actually. And, you know, as combo class gets more resources, I can certainly see myself having a larger one of these someday. It actually is the same type of electricity as a Tesla coil. So if you've heard of a Tesla coil, not related to the cars and stuff, related to the inventor back in the day, Tesla made these Tesla coils that were kind of like big versions of this. So pretty neat. When you touch it, it attracts to your fingers. And if you accidentally touch it with all your fingers, then... No, I'm kidding. It doesn't do anything. So, I mean, it hasn't shocked me yet. So far, so good. So, pretty neat. We'll leave this one on in the background. And in fact, I think if we're ever doing a nighttime stream, we might as well have that one around. And this one doesn't hurt either. Of course, I'm not sure if you can actually see me very well with just these ones. So, may have to get a little bit of side light from the lantern. Little bit of help from over there. Now, is that all of the methods of illumination? No, I forgot. There's one more extra fun method of illumination. In fact, we're going to have to just embrace these for a minute, leave any comments you want answered, because the next one's extra cool, and it's going to sidetrack me for a while. So, by the way, let me leave a little shout out to some of the people who have sent me stuff in the mail, include this wasp nest, turned out to be very helpful, was sent by Traveling Through Time. So, shout out to that fella. And also shout out to George Carosi, who has been a Patreon supporter who also sends me cool stuff at the mailbox to see in the class. These things weren't from him. I'm not positive the next thing I'm going to show was, but because, you know, they didn't come with his name, but I know he sent a bunch of science stuff. So I'm pretty sure this one was one of the things he sent. Either George Carosi or another cool fan sent this to the private mailbox I have. And it's another little science gadget I'm going to show that seems to work better in the night. So that's why I saved it for this when I, you know, was displaying the other sorts of science gadgets I'd gotten, like the Toro Flux and such. And with this new one, I need to remind everyone again, I got all this stuff for free from fans. I'm not sponsored by any companies when I get excited about a science toy. In fact, I have been offered sponsorships, not by science toy companies, but by other things that I've turned down because I didn't want to dedicate any of my video time to a sponsorship unless it was, for a huge amount of money or a great company or something. So I have actually not done anything sponsored yet, including all these times where I am advocating for toys being cool. This one, I'm not positive. I've only tested it out a tiny bit, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be advocating for its coolness because it seemed pretty cool. My favorite of all the science things I've experimented with so far, though, has got to just be the Toro Flux. It's so simple, but it has like the paradoxical trait of how many rings it has. It zoops and swings up into its different states, and you can roll it off your arm in this crazy way, or roll it off different stuff. I don't know if you can see its motion fully right there. But yeah, this thing is a cool little mechanism. The new one, though, is pretty neat as well. The new one, since it relates to nighttime, as soon as I bring it out, I will turn off the other lights. To answer a few more comments first, though, before I get out this new toy, somebody asked, is that the thing that makes your hair crazy? And if you mean me talking about with the lab coats going wild over time, or do you mean this? I don't think this makes your hair crazy from static electricity is different. Unless you mean my hair just gets crazy throughout the grades, so ambiguous. And somebody said they got to play with some of these at a science museum, which is cool. I love science museums. I haven't been to one in a minute, but one of my dreams would be to someday make a connection at some of the places in the Bay Area that are really cool science museums include the Lawrence Hall of Science and the Exploratorium. Those are both really cool science museums that I would love to someday be able to film at after hours or something somehow, because they just have so massive versions of all this stuff. So somebody asked if I've been into speed solving. Do you mean like Rubik's Cubes? I actually haven't done the Rubik's Cube in so long that I would have to reread some algorithms to jump back into it. But it's funny how some muscle and brain memory works, where I used to be able to do them in about a minute at my fastest. I never got into like super speed solving, but I was able to do them in, at my fastest about a minute. And then I didn't do it for years and years. And then I couldn't resolve it without an algorithm, because almost nobody can actually figure out how to put it together without dedicating years to it or reading an algorithm. And so I reread the algorithms and stuff. And then the first time I retried it, this was like a year ago, so now I've re-forgot it. But the first time I tried it, it took me like 7 minutes or something. And then the second time I tried it, it was like 2 or 3 minutes. I was like almost back to my old time, but on the second time I tried it, not the first. That often happens where like if you know a song in music and then you don't play it for a really long time, and then you're given the sheet music or chords or whatever, you probably will be kind of sloppy your first time remembering everything, but you might be like surprisingly back to some of your muscle memory on like the second and third time. So, and thank you all for the love and such. Someone asked what's the funniest number, and that's an interesting question. I have been, of course, compiling a lot of notes that will show up in a episode dedicated to a topic I've already mentioned before, which is that I think we cannot quantify the least interesting number. We hit a paradox as well as just concepts of infinity, but I think we can make our own opinions about the most underrated number. And it's almost like a strange ratio between how interesting and powerful is the number and how much credit does it get. And like, for example, the fraction 1/2 might be pretty underrated for how powerful it is and how much it gets discussed among the constants. Fraction 1/3 or 1/6, very underrated. But I'm going with the most underrated number is 6. And so that's why, that's the one I've decided the most blank number of something. Funniest number? I don't know. You know, the meme numbers make a lot of people laugh. So there's the classics, you know, the 69 and 420 and such. But personally, what do I think is a pretty funny number? There's some numbers that are kind of funny that they're like the first or only one with some random trait. So like there's a type of number called weird number, and the smallest weird number is 70. And that's kind of funny. The next weird number is like way up in the hundreds, like multiple hundreds up. And what else is a weird, like, I guess if you get into different algebras, like quaternions are kind of funny, just how weird they are. Or what's kind of funny is going into hyper complex numbers beyond imaginary and then beyond the ones called quaternions that are beyond that. When you go into ones called like octonions or however you pronounce that, those things are losing all these properties you're used to, and they have these massive tables to know their interactions. So those are kind of funny. They get a lot of computer, not those ones with the quaternions, get a lot of graphic designers or computer programmers mad because they're actually really good at describing 3D rotations, even though it's this almost four-dimensional algebra. So kind of, those are funny. I don't know. Someone also recommended 80085. You know, everyone's punched that one in their calculator a few times. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Good question on the funniest number. Also, there are some funny traits about some of the basic ones, like 0, 1, and 2. Like 2 is the only even prime. 2 and 3 being primes that are right next to each other is kind of funny. Like 5 being in both pairs of twin primes with 3 and 7 is kind of funny. It's kind of funny that 1 is like so basic, but then you unravel it and how powerful it is. And 0 is such a powerful void that it's everything. It's, you know, you look into the void and you can see funniness, you can see any emotion you want when you look into 0. So those are my answers to the chat, and it's time to show a cool new toy. Now, I'll put this to the side so we have minimal light, and I'll turn off our plasma orb for a minute. Pretty cool, especially when all the other lights are off. But I'm turning that all off for a minute so we can try this new thing. Where's the off switch on this thing? Okay. So, this thing is going to need a lot of space. I don't know if I'm going to have enough space to do this here. That sounds weird for a tiny little box, small box, but needs a lot of space. So, this thing is, I'll show it first. It's a little like spinning device that like shoots out a gear spinning really quick that causes this string to get pushed out. Now, it's a really long string, but when you get it pushed out at the right speed, it like holds itself up in the air. Now, it also has a little glowing thing, so I need that part on. Okay. You all ready? Look at this wild thing. I don't even know if we... Okay, it's all caught in itself. Whoa, okay, there. Yeah. Okay, I need to get the camera further back somehow. This thing needs a lot of room, and it's all caught in itself. Wait, no, go off. Okay. Okay, hopefully I didn't get too many knots in here. Today is not our knot theory lesson. Technically, no matter how knotted this gets, since I'm able to unwind it into its loop state, it is representative of the unknot, which is actually a name for the trivial knot, sort of like the rubber band shape. Now, I'm going to move this further back. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to unplug the plasma orb and move this further back. And see if we can watch this loopy thing. So, Uh-oh, the string's everywhere. Okay, here. I'm not sure how well you can see this. It's good. Oh no, it's all caught in itself. Okay, it's fixed, I think. Whoa. Can you see this at all? It's like this weird red string. Okay, I'll turn on a light in case it's not that visible. Okay. Do you see this string that's just like forming this strange shape in the air? It's hard to see it on there. Okay. This thing looks really cool here. It's hard to show it on camera. Okay. Wait. Okay, I got this all knotted. Let me unknot this and try this again because I can't even tell to what degree you're seeing it or not. But there's this big red string that's just like somewhat illuminated by that light and flies out in this like straight shape that it maintains that you can like make ripples in. It like holds itself up in the air in a weird way. Takes up a ton of space in the air though. You need like a lot of room, which the combo class does not necessarily have. But I've unwound this, so I'm going to try again. Okay. Whoa. Not happy with that. It's harder to use in the darkness, though. Looks cooler in the darkness. Harder to not mess up and get knots in. Okay, this thing knots itself very easily. Alright, this might be the type of thing that's harder for me to show while doing and while managing the tech and camera on a live stream. I'll give it another shot in this direction, but if I can untangle it. But it might be something I have to film like with a camera person sometime and then get an actual good shot of it. Because it actually does look cool. I don't know if you're seeing any of it. Someone's asking if I have a cathode ray, and I do not. People can remember if they have anything weird they want to see me mess around with in a scientific way, they can mail it to my mailbox. Not my home address, but I do have a mailbox address where people can send things. Okay, this is really knotted. So it came with... Okay, I got it. Okay. It came with multiple strings, luckily. So, let me give this one more shot and see if I can actually show the coolness. So, can you see the red string at all? I don't know if you can see the red string. Okay, it's caught up again. I will have to figure out a way to film that with the right mix of darkness and light sometime. In any case, it semi-illuminates the room, and it's mostly just a cool thing that I thought would look better to show at night, but we'll try again in day for some contrast. Now, since we're not actually busting out the glow-in-the-dark spray paint tonight, that is about all of the different nighttime ways that we could create fire that I have created here. But if you have any other suggestions, apart from, of course, a campfire, which will be coming again, I like campfires, any other suggestions for ways we could illuminate the night? That's an interesting thing to think about, because once in a while I want to do a stream when it's dark out here, and... you know, there are various methods we could go about illuminating it. In fact, I can make my computer much brighter, and then you can see me better. I purposefully had my computer pretty low so that it wasn't giving much light. But as an example, even with this off, if I turn that off and then make my computer really bright, you can see me too. Wow, that's actually really... I didn't know that. So this is a new computer with a better camera than the old one that broke. So that's actually seems surprisingly good at lighting up my face just by me turning the computer screen on. It's cool. We'll roll with that. So, so someone said it was good, but still mysterious. Yeah. So I'll rewatch it later, but I don't think we got all of the cool things. Essentially, it is like someone's kind of mentioning, like the momentum is pushing the more momentum in a chain, and it is this thing that spits out this bit of string while it's sucking in this bit of string. And if you have it going fast enough, because you can like adjust how fast it's going, then it keeps its shape in the air, and it looks like a long loop, and you can like wiggle it a little bit, and then it like makes little ripples in the loop, but it sort of stays in the air as the loop. So pretty neat. So that was actually the main part of the stream that I wanted to do today. Of course, we'll probably chat for a little longer, and if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to ask them. But mostly I just wanted to show a few cool little nighttime devices, as well as give those mentions that are interesting banana math episodes coming in a day or two on the Combo Class channel, and that I did already try putting out a short on that channel as well, that is also linked in the description here. So, let's think about, apart from what's coming in May, because we're going to a new month, let's think about, we had a pretty good April here. We're still flying up in Combo Lords during this April. So some cool things are that instead of just the shorts doing well, that video about 7's divisibility did really well, and it was more than 100,000 views, which for my channel is really good for a not short video. You know, there's only a handful up there. And so, what's that? A squirrel. Or what is that? Is that a cat or a squirrel or what? Or is it like a possum or something? Something went up that tree. I'm gonna guess squirrel or something. We used to get more possums and stuff around here, and raccoons, and even skunks, which I don't like as much. But I haven't seen them as much recently. Someone said they saw it. I'm going to have to roll back and try and identify its shape. We will be luring more squirrels in the near future. I've gotten some nuts for them. I have some walnuts ready. Someone's already given them whole walnuts in the neighborhood, or they found a tree, but I don't even know if fresh walnuts from a tree, like, they're green. I don't know if they, like, decompose in a way that looks straight up like the walnut shell, you know? Because that's, like, what the squirrels have been having these days. They're running around the fences with these giant shelled walnuts in their mouths. And so I'm going to give them some more unshelled walnuts because I want to lure them on the desk. One of my long-term goals is to be sometime presenting a lesson on this side of the desk while there's a squirrel right next to me hanging out and eating something. So that's it. You know, we'll see if we can get that in grade -2 or which grade we can get that in. Having a bird on the desk while I was doing a lesson would be equally a cool goal. I've already had my cats on the desk before. They've hopped up. So, in any case, what else is going on here? I kind of wanted to do another type of camping stream at some point, which the nighttime reminds me of, and all the lanterns and such, because those are kind of fun, a different, you know, style than sitting in front of a whiteboard is sitting in a tent. However, the last time I was going to do that, it was when I was house sitting in a cool yard and I couldn't get any internet where the tent was. And now it's because with the desk and everything here, I can't fit the big old tent I used to have. I'm going to have to get some sort of miniature tent to fit right on the sidelines here. And unless I just slept out in a sleeping bag under the stars, I could try that. I could try just sleeping just in the fresh air out here. So, there's a lot of fun topics I do have planned for streams as well that are more daytimey or on the computery. And some of those will veer into other topics, like how we've veered into little bits of science and nature and stuff. One thing that's going to come up a little more this grade is music, because I actually used to be a music teacher, and I want to present my style of music theory of various things. And so there will be some full episodes at some point of music theory. But also in the meantime, I might do one or two more of those streams that I tried just once a while ago. That was like mathematically making one of my soundtrack beats from scratch. Because that's kind of a fun thing to look at, whether you're trying to think about it in a mathy way, or if you're just like, that's interesting, this is what sounds do together. Because a fun game I like to play sometimes is creating beats out of putting together different sounds. And that could be fun to do again sometime. Now, some of the music theory lessons, part of why I'm waiting to do it, is I want to plan a time where I can go after hours back into the shop I used to work, where I'm still friends with the boss, and film there, because they have a huge amount of instruments. Like, I have like a piano and guitar and stuff, but they have like, walls of instruments in the shop I used to work at. And so, because before I was a private teacher of music, before that I was a music teacher at a shop, and before that I helped run retail at that same shop. And so I've talked to the boss there, who I'm still friends with, about filming there sometime, like after their hours or when they're not busy, and then being able to do a music theory lesson just surrounded by instruments. So that'll be a fun field trip. And as for specific instruments, the instruments that I will probably teach over time that are like an actual physical instrument will probably be piano, guitar, and maybe other stringed instruments that are similar to guitar, such as bass or ukulele or things like that. I don't know as much about other, say, brass or woodwinds or stuff as far as playing them physically, but we can also discuss theory of, when you want their sound in a song and what their sound does compared to other sounds. And there will also just be a lot of theory of how do chords and scales in the way that we designed music, where it's a 12-tone scale, work. And there's going to be a lot of math related to 12s, as well as there's a lot of modularness, where if you go up 12 of one step, it's sort of like a clock, you're back to the same letter. There's also other scales that you only have to go up 7 times to get back to the same one, and that's almost like weekdays. So funny enough, like the 2 main increments you might count from one note to itself happening again are kind of the same increments we happen to put on clocks and weekdays. So we're going to have a lot of good analogies to make out of it while we do it. That's, the Domotro style of teaching. Not only will we take it to a more mathematical basis than some music teachers would, but we will also combine it with other thoughts that we have observed before about things. My favorite instrument to play would probably be piano. And I don't know if I have a favorite I guess if I had to pick one, I would say piano. But as far as a big hobby of mine is to make digital music, like beats or soundtracks or stuff as well, then I can incorporate instruments I don't actually play. And in terms of that, it's harder to pick a favorite, because they all have good uses at different times. But if I had to pick one, I'll go with piano. All right, so I think I'm going to transfer out of this stream relatively soon. When I do, make sure to catch whatever videos that are linked in this description that you haven't seen yet, including that new short. And stay tuned for this channel to have a bonus video about slender salamanders and another random short. And for the combo class channel to have our banana episode and another random short. So that'll all be coming within the next week or so, and we are moving onward to more and more cool math topics. This week's main episode is half snack break, half math, although it's a lot of polygon math is in there. But then it's kind of back to numbers a bit, so this grade will be pretty number theory heavy, like last grade, where we're going to be talking a lot more about things like, not the same things we've learned, but whole new realms of some similar, seeds of topics. We're still going to be often talking about things like maybe prime numbers or factorials or things we've seen before in new contexts. And of course, new things. But some of the topics I'm brainstorming do remind me of new twists on things that we have planted the seeds of before. There's also some new completely different topics that are just unrelated to anything I've presented before and have been something I've been brainstorming for a really long time and haven't put into any of the episodes or streams yet because I have like this brainstorm I'm working on for some topic. So some of the best topics actually I've kept my mouth shut about because I don't want to like spoil some 30-minute episode I'll make before too long. But in any case, a lot of cool stuff coming this grade. Well, also, one thing that some people like is some of the more popular episodes on that combo class channel are the ones about weird bases. And we will be doing more weird bases in this grade. Although, we've already spent a bunch of time on some of the weird little extensions to bases. It's not all the extensions we can do, but the first one we're going to look at will be another extension that's a different, called balanced bases, where you incorporate characters for negative things as characters. And we're going to look at balanced ternary mostly. But after that, I'm also planning some episodes that are just going to go into the more common, what I call the basic bases, with more details. Like what's really going on in binary, why is base 12 better than base 10, why is base 6, in my opinion, even better than that. So that will add up to a couple episodes that, you know, I'm spending some time brainstorming. That all got scattered by my old computer breaking and getting a new one where I have a new batch of documents and stuff. But luckily my old data was savable even though the computer broke. So I had most of it backed up, but everything did end up being able to be salvaged in any case from a shop. So that's pretty good. So we'll be back on track. Now I am about to log off after we get one last glimpse of some of our coolest light sources, such as... In fact, now let's see how bright can we make it. Where are all of our sources? This is glow in the dark, so it's not going to add much. When the other sources are on, it doesn't help. Same with this one. If you put one too close to it, it goes off. But we got a bunch of light sources, and the plasma orb doesn't add as... Okay, yeah, you got to keep this one further from that, or it shuts off. You see that? It's like, time to charge. Time to use my charge. And what was up with this headlamp? I couldn't even get it on. This weird button or something. The final one, I guess, is our good old classic fire in the form of like a lighter or match or something, which you should always be careful with, but which is the most classic form of lighting up the darkness. So, yes, be safe with fire, but it is very historically important and remains so, and represents a lot to me. So, we will return quite soon with all of those videos I discussed. Catch whatever links in the description you don't already know or haven't seen or visited. And I love you all. Thank you for joining me. I am still pushing Threven for the dictionary, and Threven will, but that's another episode that'll be in this grade, is the next part of, I made one called Why Threven Should Be in the Dictionary, but I'm going to make one at some point that's more like a 3 or 4 minute pitch of why Threven should be in the dictionary, like really condensed, and use that as sort of a trailer for a petition or something. But that will come when the time's right, because I'm compiling a lot of notes I've taken about Threven numbers, and I don't want to miss including some of the awesome stuff, because I've found a lot of stuff. So, like, literally at this point, I think Threvens are almost as fundamental as evens, and you know how fundamental evens are. I am saying almost. Evens might have a few more tricks up their sleeve, because we know even and odds are fundamental to so many structures. But Threvens and Throds are also pretty important. So, but to you folks, don't do stuff like that ahead of schedule. That won't help, because, you know, nobody is going to want to sign 3 petitions about Threven over their life, or not a random stranger. So you got to wait until I make a Wikipedia page for Threven full of all my notes about it. Because, believe it or not, they have a Wikipedia page for Power of 3, for like 3, 9, 27, for details about those. But they don't have one for Multiple of 3. And so, one of the stages of my plan, after I consolidate a little more data, make one more episode about it, then I'm going to edit the Wikipedia page to have an article that hopefully they keep that says multiples of 3, also known as Threven numbers, do all of this cool stuff. And for the start, we'll be okay with it being parenthetical because, and in fact, in general, the other even article probably says something like multiples of 2, also nicknamed evens. I'm not sure. It's probably something like that. So it's okay if it's parenthetical there as a nickname. And if they keep that Wikipedia page, then I think I have a much higher chance of a petition working. And really what it comes down to is it needs to be used in different sources. So if you know any journalists, you know, apart from maybe they should write a cool article about combo class, apart from that, just make sure that they slip in Threven into some articles. If it's just being used casually to describe a multiple of 3 in a few different places, then I can be able to make a petition to one of those dictionaries and they might actually listen. So, hopefully that will come, the Threven in the dictionary. And as we know, we don't really need to push for Throd. Maybe we'll do that later. But if Threven gets in the dictionary, Throd's gonna follow. So, love you all. Thank you so much. Hope you have a marvelous day. And next time you eat a banana, look for its Threven structure and wonder if there's any other strange math that might be something that I noticed but had never heard of before this week. So, in any case, love you all.